Welcome everyone, and thank you for being here today. Our first slide lets you know that if you need interpretation, please use the globe icon at the bottom of the screen, and you can change your language preference. Give it a sec to do that. Great. My name is Kathy Fisher, and I am the Policy Director for Health and Human Services in the Managing Director's Office, and I'm also the co-chair of Shared Safety, so welcome you here today. Shared Safety is a coordinated community response to relational violence in Philadelphia's health and human services systems, and Shared Safety is a coalition made of both city agencies and community-based organizations that work together to improve services for survivors of relational violence. This Lunch and Learn series is designed for health and human services professionals to learn more about resources in Philadelphia related to relational violence, and they're scheduled periodically, so hopefully you're on the email list to get the notifications. And to learn more and access resources, you can visit the Shared Safety webpage on phila.gov. The link is provided on the slide, or you can just Google Shared Safety at phila.gov and it'll come up. And then we have our esteemed speakers here today. We thank you very much for our partners at Community Empowerment and Opportunity, another office at the city, and they are a member of Shared Safety. So you'll hear more from CEO during the presentation, but thank you to Tara, Shanara, Ashley, Donna, and Sarah, and Ray for joining us and sharing information about economic empowerment. If you have questions during the presentation, please put them in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. And this session is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be shared after the webinar. Thank you very much, and I will turn it over to the CEO team.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to all of you for taking time out of your day to be here and for inviting us to share some essential resources that we hope will be helpful to survivors of relational violence. Our office joined the Shared Safety Council last year, largely because we were working on ways to better support participants in one of our own workforce programs who we may know, who they may have also had experiences with domestic violence in their lives. But through our participation, we've learned that our office has multiple intersections with the work of the Shared Safety Group, particularly in the area of economic empowerment. So we are excited to present today and excited to make connections after the presentation to work towards shared goals. Next slide. So here is our agenda. First, we'll do a quick introduction and overview of our office, and then we'll go into the different categories of resources we are focusing on today, including workforce strategies, economic mobility, benefits access, and we'll also touch on the new SNAP work requirements. And then we'll have time, we should have time at the end for some questions. We do have a wonderful team here, as Kathy shared, who will present on areas they oversee. And people can introduce themselves as we go along. I do also want to share in advance that we know there are many parts of economic development and different types of resources. So we're here today to share CEO-specific resources, but we are happy to be part of ongoing discussions and to explore solutions around other types of resources that are essential, but which we're not touching on today. Next slide. Okay, so I'm starting us off. My name is Tara Williams. I'm the Director of Workforce Strategies at CEO, and I oversee a portfolio of programs and initiatives that support people in reaching economic goals through a combination of education, training, work experience, and support services. And I do want to start with an introduction to why we are here today. I'm sure this is not new to our audience, but just an important reminder. So economic circumstances, we know, are a major factor in a survivor's journey. We know that financial stress can be a risk factor for abuse, and that control of finances can be a way for abusers to maintain power. This can also mean that people may struggle to leave an abusive relationship if they don't have access to the resources they need to build a safe and secure life. Economic mobility is made up of many different factors, and it largely depends on an individual's circumstances, but here are some of the common challenges we see in achieving economic stability. It might include lack of financial resources or immediate assistance, limited education and training, employment gaps and challenges entering the workforce, debt or poor credit, engagement with predatory lending, and then also ongoing legal and medical expenses. Next slide. So having access to economic resources can help survivors attain long-term safety and stability. And these are things that look like having access to high quality education and training, being able to use career counseling and job support services, services that help build credit and help manage debt, budgeting and financial education, banking access, and access to other immediate resources. So this is where our office comes in. We are the Office of Community Empowerment and Opportunity. We call ourselves CEO, so you'll hear us say CEO quite frequently in the presentation. Next slide. We also serve as Philadelphia's Community Action Agency. Community action agencies were established across the nation in the 60s as part of the Economic Opportunity Act and the War Against Poverty. So at CEO, we strive to create the conditions that allow for economic stability, mobility, and ultimately prosperity for people to achieve their personal and financial goals and build wealth. Next slide. Here is our wonderful team photo and our mission. CEO provides leadership on issues of economic justice by advancing racial equity and inclusive growth to ensure that all Philadelphians share in the city's prosperous future. Next slide. As a community action agency, we are also charged with doing a community needs assessment every 3 years. We do this through collaborating with the community, engaging residents, and identifying trends and needs to help inform city efforts that address the root causes of poverty and inequity. This community needs assessment is available on our website and can be a helpful resource for supporting initiatives that you may be working on, or if you're applying for a grant, it may help explain some conditions in the city that often come from participant focus groups and resident voice. We work with a range of agencies and organizations with similar goals to advance work in multiple areas that contribute to economic security, including the lists you see here: economic mobility, again, same things, benefits access, workforce development, housing security, and then we do community outreach and policy advocacy as well. All right, so now that you've got a little bit of background on our office as a whole, we're ready to get into our resources and the information we have to offer. So I'm going to turn it over to Shanira Key to start us off with workforce strategies.
Thanks, Tara. Afternoon, everyone. My name is Shanira Key. I'm the Workforce Development Manager at the Office of Community Empowerment and Opportunity. I would just like to state, excuse my voice. If at any time you all cannot hear me, please, one of the other staff members, please let me know. Next slide. So, workforce development. As Tara mentioned, within our mission, there are several different areas where, as the Community Action Agency of Philadelphia, where we align ourselves to empower participants. And one of those ways is our workforce development providers, which we have recently coined ourselves as the Workforce Strategies team at CEO. So within the Workforce Strategies team at CEO, our mission, we lead with understanding and empathy, making sure everyone has a fair chance to meet their economic goals. We do this by funding job and training programs, helping organizations improve their workforce development services, and speaking up for policies that can make it easier for everyone to succeed. So, under the Workforce Strategies portfolio, as you'll see on the screen, some of our programs and partners that we support: Jev's Work Ready, who I work with directly. This is facilitated by Jev's Human Services. The Same Day Work and Pay program, who have multiple providers across the city of Philadelphia. I believe that is, just to name a few, Mural Arts and CLIP, First Step Staffing, and Center for Employment Opportunities. Next slide, please. So the Work Ready program. So Work Ready is a comprehensive employment and training program serving recipients of TANF, which is Extended Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. So Work Ready specifically in Philadelphia is the largest provider for eTANF employment and training programs in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, the difference between eTANF and extended TANF is that participants have had to be receiving TANF benefits for 5 years or more, which is equivalent to 60 months. The participants themselves must be head of households, which means that they have to have children assigned to their cases and have experienced prolonged hardship. Um, Again, this is an employment and training program for extended TANF recipients in Philadelphia County. Now, how do you get referred to Work Ready if you are interested in these services? All participants who are referred to the Work Ready program, they come through the county assistance office. So as someone who has been receiving TANF assistance for 5 years, I want to say there's generally an assessment that occurs 3 to 6 months before you reach that 5 year mark, where you would be reassessed by your caseworker at the county assistance office. And at that time, you will talk about your your plan, whether you have overcome the barriers that you previously established with the county assistance office. And if you are someone that has experienced prolonged hardship, you will then be referred to the Work Ready program. I would like to mention that within this program, there are several exemptions, one of them being a domestic violence exemption. So if at that time where you if at that time where you go through your reassessment and you inform your caseworker at the county assistance office, you could be exempt from participating in the mandatory hourly requirements, but you are still eligible to receive your benefits. And when I say benefits, as it comes to extended TANF, this is cash assistance benefits. Okay, so some of the services and supports that are offered by the Work Ready program. So this is a individualized approach to all services, but essentially all participants, when they come through the doors, they are then assessed with a case coordinator in the Work Ready program. Excuse me, they are assessed by a case coordinator in the Work Ready program. And at that time, you will create an individualized employment plan where you are able to have the conversation with your case coordinator and a placement counselor as far as your goals. If you would like to pursue education or employment, if you would like to focus on family wellness and getting the proper skills as far as being a parent, all of that will be included in detail in your IEP. There are many education and credentialing programs that are offered at no cost to the participants. Recently, we just had a graduation of 58 participants who either obtained their high school diploma, a certification in sterile processing, or they became certified medical assistants. Um, Excuse me, some of the other services that I like to highlight is that JEVS has on their staff licensed counselors and support groups that are readily available for anyone that is going through a crisis situation, but also if you are interested in routine counseling services, that is something that is offered. In the program, there is also support and assistance with childcare subsidies and transportation, as long as you follow your plan that has been created within JEVS and also the contract that was made with the county assistance office. Those are services that are available to you, whether you are pursuing education or employment. There are also things that are offered, such as supports for clothing, fees, laptops, housing support if needed. There are a ton of participants who transition out of homelessness and obtain stability while enrolled in this program. And those are things that are covered by the Work Ready program. Um, they host family nights, resource fairs, and a plethora of other services. But essentially, I would just like to leave you all with stating that although Work Ready is an employment and training provider in Philadelphia, we also understand that before you can align someone with obtaining employment, that you really have to get to the root of their barriers. And that's where a lot of their work focuses, and supporting the participant, not only the participant, but their families as well. Next slide.
Okay, I'm going to jump in on this one. Before we continue, I just want to highlight what Shanira just said. If folks who are listening are familiar with the TANF employment and training programs, they've evolved quite a bit over the years. We feel really proud of the Work Ready program and the comprehensive services that it offers. I think there in the old times, some of the programs had been more about just checking a box and reaching hours, instead of, really individualized, participant-centered services. And PADHS has done a lot to change the scope of what can be offered. So, I mean, you just heard the list that Shanira mentioned, and that's true in some of the other TANF programs like EARN and KEYS. Those are not CEO programs that we oversee, but just I want people to know that the programs have evolved over time and really do provide a lot of comprehensive services for participants that were not always part of the programs in the past. Okay, moving on from Work Ready, CEO also oversees same-day work and pay in the city. Our program manager, Ashley, I don't think she's on right now. She would be the person to contact for more information. Same-day work and pay is a no to low barrier paid work opportunity that is accessible to any Philadelphian experiencing economic instability. The requirements for most of the programs are being 18 and being able to, successfully work for a day, and being ready to engage in that work. So you can show up, you don't need an ID, we don't do background checks, you don't need prior work experience, and you will, engage with the work crew for the day, do the work, and get paid in cash at the end of that day. Um, Typically, it's $50 per shift, and the shifts are usually 3.5 to 5 hours. Work that is done often centers on neighborhood beautification, corridor cleanup, art making, trail maintenance, and more. We're also building out the program so that while it does provide that quick work experience and quick pay, that it can also be a place that is meant to connect people to a next step for those who are looking for a next step, whether that's continuing on your employment or career journey or looking for additional support services. In general, the Same Day Work and Pay program is meant to be an opportunity to share experiences, build relationships, participate in meaningful work, and have a chance for change. So Shanir mentioned a couple of the providers earlier. Here's the current list that we are connected with. It includes Mural Arts, Uplift Solutions, the CLIP Community Life Improvement Program, Riverfront North, and PHS. Many of the programs do run a wait list, so that's something to be aware of, but there is a process where we kind of help manage wait lists and see who might have openings. So again, that opportunity is available for everyone, very low barrier, and I think it fills an important space in the workforce development ecosystem. Okay, next slide. Back to you, Shanira.
Thank you. So, some of our other workforce programming we have highlighted here: First Step Staffing and CEO Works. I would like to mention that CEO Works, Center for Employment Opportunities, is similar to this same day work and pay program. They provide immediate, effective, and comprehensive employment services to people recently released from incarceration. So CEO Works program supports participants in gaining workplace skills and competence needed for successful transitions to stable, productive lives. Again, similar to same day work and pay, participants are assigned to work crews that are typically 4 days a week for 2 to 4 months, and they are paid at the end of every shift. The type of work that the participants can do, some of their outdoor services are groundskeeping, snow removal, tree maintenance, but they also can do janitorial work, trash removal, furniture moving, um, event setup and cleanup. So things of that sort. CEO Works, they have a list of employers that they work with, and they rotate their crews based on need. And again, highlighting that the participants get paid at the end of every work shift. And then we have first step staffing. So first step staffing is really an open opportunity for everyone. It serves as a first step to self sufficiency for people who often face barriers to employment. Excuse me, while bringing a meaningful staffing solution for local business partners. First Step Staffing uses a temporary staffing business platform coupled with supportive services to help people enter and advance in the workforce. So, First Step Staffing is temporary employment opportunities with the goal of placing participants for permanent employment opportunities. And much like CEO Works, they have a plethora of employers that they partner with in Philadelphia, but I also believe that they are in Atlanta and recently expanded to Baltimore. Um, yeah, but in Philadelphia, um, again, temporary employment opportunities available to everyone. You can have a referral, but you do not need a referral to participate in the First Step Staffing program. You are able to walk in and they will support you on site. And much like the other programs, you are assessed based on your need, your goals, and finding alignment with opportunities. Also, within First Step, they offer additional support services, the wraparound services, as far as supports with housing and furniture. Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add for this, Tara?
I think you covered those two.
All right, thanks. Next slide, please. And I'm
Okay.
going to pass it over to Sarah Lapore.
Thanks. My name's Sarah Lapori. I'm the Director of Economic Mobility here at CEO. And we're just going to highlight three initiatives run out of CEO that service Philadelphians and think there is overlap in service areas. So you can head over to the first slide. So we fund through CEO free financial counseling. It is available to any Philadelphian, regardless of income. Uh, it is one-on-one, so the financial counseling sessions are targeted towards each individual's unique situation, what challenges they're currently facing, and mostly centered around what their goals are. So based on the individual's needs and goals, step-by-step action plan will be created in partnership with their financial counselor. Um, Financial counseling, some people elect to attend one session, some people elect to attend 10 sessions over many years as their goals shift from crisis to stability to goals of home ownership. So a lot of services are included, debt management, settlements, disputing inaccurate credit reports, credit fraud alerts and freezes, helping to identify safe banking accounts and products where you can find opportunities to help build your credit, creating savings plans, spending plans, tax refund planning. There's also some programs run through Clarify that include like match savings programs or specific to populations, uh, cash assistance grants. And so folks can access this either in person or virtual appointments by calling and setting up a free appointment. They operate in a number of different locations through the city. We find that most clients tend to prefer um, virtual appointments, and so both are an option. And then would you go to the next slide? Another initiative run out of CEO is something called Bank On. So this is a national movement coming out of the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund. So many years ago, about 10 years ago, this initiative began out of research from the FDIC, showing that not enough accounts were safe and accessible to individuals. A lot has changed since then. So all the accounts that are Bank On certified have a small opening deposit. They have no overdraft fees, small or low or no monthly fees. Everybody has online banking. And then we also have encouraged account things such as we strongly encourage Bank On certified accounts to accept ITINs and government issued IDs, in addition to driver's licenses for document for account opening. We also strongly encourage these accounts to offer sole ownership accounts for youth age 16 and up. So those are some of the strongly encouraged. We do have bank accounts in Philadelphia who meet the also the encouraged criteria. But beyond just offering these accounts, the one of the primary goals of this is to make these accounts more accessible, increase the number of people who hold bank accounts, decrease unbanked households, decrease underbanked households. And one of the components that Bank On cities work on specifically is finding ways to integrate both financial literacy and account opening opportunities into municipal programs. This is one of the initiatives that we do as part of Bank On Philadelphia, specifically working with right now with Jevs around the summer jobs programming, both exploring functionality for hopefully eventually being able to offer direct deposit, but also creating a lot of partnerships around financial literacy. We're also working with same day work and pay. So as I mentioned, this is a national movement. So I think this is one area of interest. There have been a few different cities who have worked with organizations to elevate and think about the impact of abuse on survivors' banking experiences and have forged some partnerships and created some collaboration in this space. So I do think that this is a very interesting initiative within CEO to highlight for this group. And then next slide. And then another service that we provide is free tax filing through VitaSites. our office supports and funds our VITA sites. And then in addition, we run a campaign called Claim Your Money PHL. This is designed to better reach underserviced groups in Philadelphia who have lower rates of claiming the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit. These are significant tax credits and make a huge difference to families' budgets. So we have a large campaign, which includes everything from bus shelter signage to targeted text messaging, as well as partnering with right now 22 different grassroots organizations to try and increase outreach in communities and neighborhoods around Philadelphia.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And just to highlight, I think you said this, I just think it's really exciting that one of the initiatives in CEO includes that the integration of the work that you're doing into workforce development programming. So as people's income situations change, as they participate, they will have the established tools and resources to help build towards that longer term economic mobility. And I think we've heard some feedback that that's not common in all workforce programs. So it's really exciting work to bring the two things together. Okay, so I am going to cover our benefits access. This is not my area of expertise, but our expert could not join us today. Um, but we just wanted to highlight this given that benefits can serve as a more immediate safety net for people in many cases. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so in our office, we have the benefits access unit. Our team here oversees the Benefili Clarify helpline. We also have a CEO benefits access mobile unit, and we oversee 5 community-based Benefili centers. So these services offer free one-on-one support to help Philadelphians enroll in public benefits. Next slide. Oh, fancy transitions. Okay. So these are the current 5 Benefili centers and their addresses and phone numbers. So I believe people can walk in, you can call to make an appointment, or you may be referred. When you call the hotline, you may go through an initial screening to see what types of things you might be helpful to you, and then they might refer you to your local Benefili center to do a more thorough review of the benefits, what you might qualify for, and to help you do an application. They do not replace what the county assistance offices do. The county assistance offices are still responsible for determining eligibility, but they can go through a really large suite of potential services and help you get the paperwork you need to make a good application so the county assistance office can make a more accurate determination of eligibility. Next slide. And then here is the list of the different types of benefits that the benefits access team and Benefili can help you review. So it's quite extensive. You've got healthcare and prescriptions, shelter and utility costs, food and nutrition, refugee cash assistance, and then screening and referrals for some other important benefits on the right-hand side there. So I think it's over 21 types of benefits that they can help you review. And then here is the link to learn more about Benefili and how to get in touch. Okay. All right. So those are kind of the key resources we thought were relevant for the group from CEO. But while we have everyone here, we thought it would be important to touch on the new SNAP work requirements. There will also be Medicaid work requirements coming soon in 2027. So we're preparing for those. But these work requirements are going to impact people in a new way. And so it's really important that we are sharing information wherever we can about these and how people can maintain their benefits. So I'm going to turn it over to Ray to share the basic rule changes and how to support people who may be impacted.
Hi, folks. Hope everyone's doing good today. Can I get the next slide, please? Okay, so these work requirements came about due to the passing of the Federal Reconciliation Bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill. These changes are all new to Philadelphians. Previously, there were geographical waivers in place, but now new folks will have to start meeting work requirements to keep their SNAP. If impacted recipients don't meet the new requirements, they can only receive SNAP for 3 months in a 3-year period. So it's really important that we make sure we're working with people to make sure their benefits are being maintained. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's what the changes to eligibility look like. So as you can see, we've moved past these 2 dates, but this just gives you an idea of that kind of 3-month clock that we're looking at. So starting on September 1st, anyone who is 18 to 54 years old without a dependent under 18 who does not meet an exemption and is considered physically and mentally able to work has to start meeting these SNAP work requirements. And then moving to November, the clock moves to 18 to 64 years old, those without a dependent child under 14. So if you fall into one of these categories, you need to meet SNAP work requirements, and this can include working, volunteering, or participating in an education or training program for a certain number of hours per week. It's typically about 20 hours per week or 80 per month, and you want to make sure you're reporting those work requirements, that you're meeting them, to the county assistant's office. Next slide. Okay, exemptions. So this is our primary method of making sure people are able to maintain their benefits. PADHS has a screening tool to identify exemptions on their SNAPWorks website. I just want to make a note for this group in particular that survivors of domestic violence would be considered an exempted group. So definitely make sure that you have available this CM 558 form so that you can identify exemptions to the county assistant's office. If there's any kind of medical exemption in place, those can be identified to the county assistant's office using PA Form 1921. So again, another form to have handy when working with clients. These exemptions are applied per person, not to the entire household, so each individual needs to consider what exemptions they may be eligible for. And once reported, these exemptions last until the next SNAP renewal. Next slide. Okay, so these are some compliance activities for those folks who are not going to be exempt from the work requirements. There's a few different options you can go through in order to meet these activities. So first, you can work at least 80 hours a month. There's no pay requirements for these, so the pay can be in kind. And the weekly hours can fluctuate without reporting as long as you're making that 80 hours a month requirement. The second method would be to participate in an employment and training program. You can see we've got a couple of examples here, and the county assistant's office is helping refer people to appropriate employment and training programs based on their needs. And then the third method for compliance would be community service / volunteering. So for this, the number of required monthly hours is a little bit different. It's determined by a formula, your SNAP grant divided by minimum wage, so it looks a little different for everybody. Nonprofits, religious organizations, and public entities can all serve as community service sites as long as they're willing to complete this 1938 community service form. These volunteer hours can be done by any member of the household subject to the time limit. And some folks may need to complete an employment development plan and be assigned to a program to monitor their hours. So this will all come through the county assistant's office. They'll make sure you're set up with what you need. So there is help available with navigating these benefits changes. So obviously you can contact the county assistant's office. They have a customer service center. And then, as Tara mentioned, our Benefitly Clarify hotline is a great place for people to get help navigating these benefits. We also have a map that indicates some locations which folks can go to receive some assistance. And we're partnering with community legal services. They can help with legal questions and appeals for SNAP applications. And then here's just some other websites, forms, and helpful information that I mentioned. So for general information about work requirements, PA Department of Human Services has a webpage, and we in the city of Philadelphia also have a webpage we regularly maintain. We also have links to those important forms that I mentioned. So the exemptions identification and the medical exemption form, as well as the community service form. And then some other important resources. The Philly Food and Meal Finder is a great recommendation resource to folks who are looking for something to eat. PA Navigate is a PA-wide service that helps folks locate resources in a number of different categories. And CEO Philly also has a resources guide. So this is more about our city landing page. This is updated regularly, and this will give you all this information. So what the requirements are, who's impacted. There are different requirements for immigrant communities than there used to be. So we have more information about that, as well as next steps for both participants and community organizations.
Thanks so much, Ray. And yeah, just to stress again, since domestic violence qualifies someone for an exemption, we really encourage organizations, neighbors, friends, and family to support people in reporting that so they can maintain their food benefits until their next renewal. Exemptions are what we're considering the most important strategy to help people keep their benefits over time. So we thank you for your support in doing that. It's brand new to Philadelphians and brand new to the county assistance office that has to process these things. So we're expecting there to be errors. The more we're informed, the more we can support people with identifying exemptions and reporting them, the more people we can help. So thank you for that. Okay, so that concludes our formal presentation from CEO today. I do want to just note, Ray mentioned the resource guide, and Ashley, our same day work and pay manager, also mentioned this earlier. I think she's on now. We do have a CEO resource guide, so we're happy to share that for different resources across the city that you might find helpful. We also, the City College for Municipal Employment, which maybe you've heard of, is a new partnership between the city and the Community College of Philadelphia to they offer training programs that are designed to help people have pathways into municipal employment. So it's a really steady career pathway. But that CCME has actually also developed a training guide, and it is full of other workforce programs across the city. You heard a few of ours, but we're a tiny part. There are many, many more workforce development resources that you might be interested in. So I would check out the training guide, and we're also happy to help make connections in the different workforce development groups that we're in from CEO's perspective. So we're happy to send those things out after this. And thanks, Liz, for sharing things in the chat. We did receive a few questions. So Liz, is now a good time to go through some of those? Okay, great. Okay, so these are some questions sent in ahead of time. Just a caveat, we are not necessarily experts in the really important questions that people ask. So I'm going to share some response, but I think all of them probably are really important for ongoing discussion. And I invite anyone on here from the team, if you've got additional information, please do chime in. So first was, with the close of Fresh Start PHL, what comparable resources are there for move-in assistance? So, right, we know housing is a major issue. We are not currently aware of a citywide program for move-in assistance at this time. Move-in help is sometimes available from specific programs that offer it as a support service as part of their services, or nonprofits that are raising funds with philanthropy. A lot of the city's work is more focused on helping people who are homeless to get safe shelter off the streets. We know there's not enough adequate resources for housing support. And having said all that, probably DHCD and OHS would be the best departments to connect with for more information there. Second was, what are some resources for affordable childcare beyond CCIS to reduce a barrier towards getting a job? So this is another great question, and childcare expenses and affordability are certainly a challenge. What When we talk about our workforce programs, I do want to reiterate that people who participate in some of the workforce programs we mentioned, like Work Ready, and also the other TANF programs like Earn and Keys, they do get child care support while they are completing programming. There's also, and then once you get a job, there's co-pays and there's a sliding scale. That is through the former CCIS system, which is now the Early Learning Resource Center system. So that is probably the key resource we know of. There's also PHL Pre-K, which is free publicly funded preschool for 3 and 4-year-olds. I think I just saw on their website that they opened enrollment yesterday. And then there's also Head Start and Early Head Start that provides low-income families with free learning and serves services for kids 0 to 5. Probably the office that is best equipped to share more details on that would be Office of Children and Families.
Tara, can I add something?
Of course.
If families are applying through the free Philly pre-K website that was just shared, starting last year, the Office of Children and Families is using that as a catch-all. So families are submitting their income documentation there. So you can be placed at any school you select, you know, your priority schools that you like to be selected. And you will be placed in either a Head Start slot, a Philly free pre-K slot, or any of the others, which have varying levels of income eligibility. And so it is a one-stop shop now where Office of Children and Families has really created like a great seamless system for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, we also got a couple of questions related to resources that are available for survivors who are not eligible for government benefits or may not have a Social Security number. Ursula from our Benefits Access Unit did join also. So, I think this is definitely a challenge, especially in the current federal landscape. I think access to federal benefits is quite challenging, but there may be city benefits and programs that people do have more access to. Ursula, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Is there anything you want to share in response to that question?
Yes, I just want to add that it is a difficult time. Things are not quite clear. We're still learning as we're going with information that's coming down from the state with the benefits. But here at CEO, we do have the Benefitly program that are still helping and willing to help families that are trying to get assistance in navigating the system and maintaining, or applying for those benefits. We're trying to keep ourselves as abreast as to as much information as possible. So please, when in doubt, not sure, refer our way. We still can assist with those individuals the best way that we can to our ability.
And I just added in the chat, the Office of Immigrant Affairs for the City of Philadelphia has a page on their site about resources, including resources for immigrant workers, for general resources, for language access. So that can be another source just for getting connected to the right kinds of places and finding out resources that are going to work for that person.
Thanks, Liz. And then the last one I have for now, unless there was anything else shared that I can't see, was interest in a list of programs that offer waivers for survivors, like ELRC childcare subsidy. I think that sounds like a great idea. This group probably doesn't have the information to share that, but we did share that some of our programs, you can be exempt from certain requirements, you're exempt from the work requirements, and have some flexibility in participation if you would still like to access services. We heard from Jev's Work Ready and their staff the other day that even though people are exempt from having to meet certain requirements to receive their TANF benefit, many people are continuing to participate because some of the services they do find quite helpful to still take advantage of, but they can still be exempt if participation is not possible and not appropriate for somebody at that time. But anyway, I like the idea of that list, and I think that would be interesting to discuss going forward.
And Tara, I will point out that we got a couple new questions in the Q&A, which may be a hidden box for you, especially if there are multiple notifications going on your screen. But the first question is, do CEO participants need a referral from their parole officer or other caseworker?
And is that might be in, is that the Center for Employment Opportunity participants? I'm assuming. I know it's confusing because we're CEO and then there's CEO Center for Employment Opportunities. But that is an organization that focuses specifically on people who are on probation or parole. Um,
I said yes.
okay, great, thank you. Um, I I think that that is a common referral source, but I don't think they have to receive a referral. Shanir, do you know any differently on that one?
Yeah, so it can come from one of those two providers. You do need a referral, but it's not exclusive to just the parole officer.
We're happy to, get clarification on that as well, if that's helpful.
Another question that came in asked, what documentation is required for a DV exemption to work requirements? Is it self-report or is there documentation requested, such as a police report or PFA?
Ursula, do you know that one?
I know there is a form that the county assistance office generally have that captures that information. So it's a matter of just filling out that form. And on that form itself, it would initiate what is needed in order to get that process going. So I can't remember verbatim exactly what's on the form, but that is a question. And they do have a meeting with the worker, and I guess they go over a series of questions that they may have together, and then it's granted for whatever period of time that's deemed eligible at that moment.
I also just want to say the DV exemption can be self-reported through that CM 558 form. So either your client or you as a provider can fill out that information on there to get that process started.
And that's for the SNAP work requirements, right?
Correct.
Okay. I do think PADHS is trying to make it as least burdensome as possible for people to report those things, and trying not to ask for documentation that is overly burdensome to people. So thank you.
We got another question that asked, does the same day work and pay program require participants to speak English?
Great question. It depends. So CLIP has bilingual staff, Spanish. At this moment, all of our other providers, like Neuro Arts of Philadelphia, they do have other participants who are staff that can help with translation for Spanish speakers only. But yes and no. So it just depends on the location. So CLIP is definitely bilingual. You can participate there. Mural Arts, you will receive some assistance with bilingual translation. But for, oh, we have so many. But for PHS, I do not believe they are bilingual.
And then another question asks, are there any educational or scholarship resources for domestic violence survivors who would like to go back to school? This might be a little bit outside of CEO's wheelhouse.
Yeah, I don't, there may be, so I don't want to say that there's not. I will say that in the some of the workforce programs we talk about, there is, like, if people share that, education or training is part of their interest in their career path, that the workforce providers will help, and can help find funding for training experiences, and that can include going back to school for certificates, associate degrees. The KEYS program is at the Community College of Philadelphia, and um, I don't think they will help you access financial aid and scholarships. I don't think they have the resources to fully fund your education, but they can certainly help you navigate and try to get as far as you can with pursuing your education. And then CCP, Community College of Philadelphia, also has the Cato Scholarship, which is essentially free community college. I'm not sure what their current wait list is, and it's not specific to domestic violence experiences, but that might be another resource to look into. So that's just a start. There may be more comprehensive opportunities and resources out there.
Those are really helpful, I think, just to know more about the landscape for connecting with educational programs too. And then I'll just say that in response to that question, I added, there's a website, thecenternow.org/survivors-grants, that has a list of specific scholarship opportunities for survivors. And someone in the chat also highlighted wispinc.org, wispinc.org. That is a domestic violence survivor scholarship. So just because it seems like everybody is looking for resources to collect, and these are additional ones to add on.
Great. Thank you.
So I think that's all the questions from the Q&A. And I'll see if anything else comes in, but thank you so much, Tara, Sarah, Ursula, Ashley, Ray, Shanera, for coming today and sharing your expertise about economic empowerment programs. This was a highly informative 1 hour. You really packed in the information. So we're so glad that we got to share this, and hopefully this has been a very educational session for everybody who attended today. And just as a reminder to everyone, the session is recorded, so it will be shared later on. And I will also follow up with links and resources that people can access over email in case you didn't get to click on everything in the chat. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending today, and hope that this has been a really educational lunch and learn for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.